Hey everybody, Matt Johnston here, and we're continuing our series of posts on social media policies. Today's video is going to be speaking about some of the material that should be included in a social media policy. Now, at the forefront, a social media policy is like many other employee policies. It should be written down. It's usually distributed in a handbook, employee handbook. It could also be a standalone policy. But no matter how you deliver it to employees, it does need to be in a written form. So some of the things that you want to start with when you are writing a social media policy or you're working with an attorney to write one is you want to define social media. A lot of times we think we know what it is, and for the most part you're going to be accurate. These are your platforms like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, Parler, all these sorts of things that are commonly thought of as social media. But you want to make sure that you want to describe it broadly, which is including any mechanism that allows an employee to post something for public consumption. So it could include a blog, it could include a podcast, it could include their own personal website that they're engaging others with. So whatever system that they're allowing that allows an employee to post something publicly for consumption by others, whether that audience of others is relatively small, whether that audience is basically the whole world, is irrelevant, but you want to be as broad as possible. So once you have defined what social media is, you want to basically reinforce that the same things that are prohibited in the workplace are also prohibited in their online behavior, particularly as it applies to their work. So there are rules and laws against discrimination in the workplace. A hostile workplace environment is a common claim under both sexual harassment law and sort of traditional race-based or national origin-based discrimination, so basically everything under Title VII of the U.S. Code. So those same sort of provisions and prohibitions that apply in interpersonal relationships, like literally face-to-face or in the office, also apply online. So you want to make clear to the employees that just because you have this online voice doesn't allow you to discriminate against your coworkers, doesn't allow you to make racial slurs against your coworkers or post harassing or threatening or otherwise discriminatory content on your personal web pages. It does have an impact. It does blow back into the workplace, and when that does, it creates a hostile working environment. So you want to make sure that people understand that their online behavior as it relates to their coworkers, as it relates to their working environment, those same rules apply to in-person behavior as it does to online behavior. I want to take a special note to talk about, particularly about privacy of other employees. For whatever reason, we have developed a society in which we're kind of open about our personal lives. And there's not a whole lot of definitive, hard separation between personal life and professional life. It is what it is. There's all kinds of reasons behind it that are way beyond the scope of this particular post. But if you see somebody's, part of the prohibitions on the behavior of employees should be, if you see something personal and private about your coworkers that doesn't, on their social media, it doesn't really give you license to post about it worldwide. If somebody's going through a divorce, it doesn't give you the right to talk about that divorce on your webpage. If somebody has had a family member die, it doesn't give you the right to talk about that. And there are other matters that are just as private and just as important that should not be the subject of your social media post as an employee. So I strongly encourage you to talk about the notion of privacy and to talk about the notion of, it's not right to be talking about certain things within your social media world that your coworkers may have thought about. Keep in mind it like this, it's not my place to talk about a fellow employee's divorce or marriage or children or anything like that. That's not my place to talk about. But while we're on the subject of privacy, I do want to talk about confidential information. Your social media policy should make very, very clear that any discussion of private, confidential information or even business information of your customers is absolutely prohibited. Many companies have a non-disclosure agreement with their customers for a variety of reasons, depending upon the nature of the work. And any conduct or conversations or posting of information that does not belong to your company, but belongs to one of your customers, should be strictly enforced. The purpose of that is it could violate the non-disclosure agreement, which then results into a loss of revenue and potentially other kinds of legal consequences that are usually not very pleasant. So make sure your employees understand that posting information, particularly confidential information that you receive from your customers, you cannot post that online and continue to be employed by the company. So when we're talking about privacy, we're talking not only about your coworkers, but we're also talking about customer information. So employees are going to have access to that private information, and you don't want that discussed. And finally, you want to reinforce to your employees when it comes to privacy that business operations, internal business information, marketing plans, things of that nature, that's really not the place. And an employee's personal social media is not the place to discuss those things. That's what company social media is for. And of course, an employee can, share that company social media, but they should not be generating that social media on their own platforms. So we're going to have another video where we're going to talk about content of the social media policy. In the meantime, please click the subscribe button down. It's up either up here or up here. I'm not sure which side it appears on, but please click that so you can get more of these videos as they come up. In the meantime, stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.